What's going on, everybody? We have some CleanSpark news to talk about. Institutions are adding. We also have recent price target increases, and I'll look at CleanSpark's chart. But first off, I want to look at Bitcoin. What's its chart doing? Well, Bitcoin is maintaining this support level. We did not get a candle to close out of it, just a wick. Basically a fake out. We were watching this bullish divergence yesterday, or the potential of one, if you guys remember me mentioning that. You'll see that the RSI fell more while the price was the same. Now basically what Bitcoin needs to do is it needs to take out its prior peaks. We have this 105 zone, we have this 102 zone, and of course we got up to this almost 104. If we can crack this, we're going to target this. If we can crack this, we're going to target this. If we find this as resistance, we're probably heading down to 100 to test that psychological support. As we stay up here in price and don't decline, as we try to maintain 100, the moving averages are going to ease up. Keep moving towards our price. Right now, the 50 MA is at 86,000. A little over that. The 200 MA is working towards 70,000. The more time that goes on that Bitcoin maintains its price or moves higher, the more that these moving averages will move up. I do think at some point we will test them as support, at the least the 50 MA. Let me remind you, last cycle, this is very normal. We test it, bounce, test, almost test it, bounce, tested it, bounce, tested it, failed, and then failed to hold it as a support, and party over. So while I don't think necessarily Bitcoin will test the 50 MA right this second or in the next couple of days or anything and test 86,000, I do think it's going to test the 50 MA at some point. The 50 MA could be closer to the 90s by then, could be into the hundreds by then if we continue moving higher. But at some point we will back test these moving averages, specifically the 50 MA, and then once that fails, the 200 MA, but that'll be much later in the cycle in my opinion. All right, now let's talk about what's going on with CleanSpark. Havent Investment Group Partners LLC buys 85,388 shares of CleanSpark. Keep in mind, these are all from the third quarter because of filings that were recently put out there, but we've got more of these. We've also got State Street Corp. They lifted their position by 4.5%. Now they own 6 million shares, or about $56 million worth. Charles Schwab increased their stake by another 10%. They now hold 2,100,000 shares, give or take. Van Eck increased their holdings. They now hold 1.5 million. This was an increase by 64%. Millennium Management LLC raised their holdings by 74%. These companies are loading up on CleanSpark. I'm sure they're loading up on many other Bitcoin miners too, but this is the time to be buying the Bitcoin miners. While they aren't moving as good as Bitcoin has moved recently, there will be times that they underperform against Bitcoin. There will be times that they overperform against Bitcoin. Based on where we're at earnings wise, based on where we're at cycle wise, I do expect the Bitcoin miners are about to pop, and massively. And these institutions think so as well. Now I will leave that down below for you guys. There is a little more you could read. But look at this. On December 10, JP Morgan upgraded their outlook for CleanSpark from neutral to overweight, meaning they're bullish. Here's a better article mentioning JP Morgan and CleanSpark's price upgrade. They also mentioned cifr. Now as a side note, I'm thinking about picking up some cifr warrants. Let me know what you guys think. But JP Morgan basically upgraded on Tuesday CleanSpark and cifr. They boosted them from neutral to overweight. They believe they are going up higher. With cifr, JP Morgan is most excited about their power. They're expanding their infrastructure and data centers in Texas, bringing on 300 megawatts by 2025. And they already benefit from one of the most attractive power contracts in the industry, coming in at under 0.03 cents per kilowatt, or 3 cents per kilowatt hour. And JP Morgan's Smith has set a price target of $8 by December of 2025 for cifr. CleanSpark, they see M&A and sustainable energy as a reason to get into it. Operating more than 30 exahash per second, CleanSpark is among the top 3 largest publicly traded Bitcoin miners. JP Morgan is betting that now's the time to jump in because it's only gone up over 1% in the last month compared to Bitcoin going up about 24%. Sometimes the Bitcoin miners will lag Bitcoin. We just got Q3 out of the way, an unprofitable quarter. Now I was going to save this till the end, but CleanSpark does expect a profitable Q4. They must have changed it when I wasn't watching. Yeah, sure, that's the reason. But JP Morgan raised CleanSpark's price target to 17 by 2025, suggesting 25% upside from current levels. Looking at CleanSpark's chart, we're at a very important pivot point. We are either going to break this and head lower, find it as resistance like we have before, or we're going to utilize it as a bouncing off point. But this $13 zone is very important to hold. Keep in mind there is a gap down here in the 11 area. We are still waiting for CleanSpark to reclaim the 200 MA. We're still waiting for a reclaim of the Golden Cross. Let me show you something interesting. CleanSpark is expecting a profitable quarter for Q4. This is going to be reported in February, but this is the period ending in December. So October, November, December, which is basically where Bitcoin rallied. Bitcoin started in the 60,000 area in October and ran all the way into the 100,000 in December. And they are guiding for a profitable quarter. Last earnings, they missed. They had an unprofitable quarter as expected. They basically came in line with revenue, but they missed their EPS. Now let me show you what happened last time CleanSpark flipped to profitability. Here's an unprofitable quarter based on June 2023. Here's a profitable quarter based on September of 2023. What happened after we got that profitable quarter? It literally ran like crazy. It went from about $4 to about $13, or 224% in about a month. Well, about the next earnings that they reported a profitable quarter. We did have a correction after this. Anticipation leading up to this earnings. Are they going to get it again? Are they going to have 2 profitable quarters in a row? Or was this just a fluke and back to the typical unprofitability of these Bitcoin miners? No, in fact, they did see another profitable quarter here. And what happened? From that point, it basically ran all the way to $25 in about 50 days or so, another 200%. I would like to think that CleanSpark is going to run up in anticipation of this earnings, and we aren't just going to tank up to it kind of like this time, where we then go on to rally. But who knows? If the market wants to take it there, so be it. I'm following the cycle. CleanSpark is about to post profitability, and for a good part of 2025 too, and this is what is going to send CleanSpark specifically, but the other miners as well, much higher. Once they get to that profitability, Wall Street is going to be that much more willing to bet on them. I do think if Bitcoin goes on its next breakout and breaks that 104 area, that previous top we just saw, if Bitcoin can break out from that, this is when the Bitcoin miners go parabolic. We're approaching profitable quarters or profitable earnings. We're almost through Q4. Bitcoin has held most of its gains. It's hovering around 100,000. And we have a couple of days left of Q4. Once December ends, Q4 is over. And Bitcoin's price has been setting up the Bitcoin miners for some massive moves moving forwards. I do think a lot of people will sell too early and they'll regret it, but that's okay. That's their decision. Now, what do you guys think? Where is CleanSpark going by the end of this cycle? Where do you think CleanSpark ends the year? Where do you think Bitcoin ends the year and ends this cycle? Thanks as always for watching, guys, and I'll see you on the next one.